All right. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for this press call on Trump's Army Corps plan and Howard Hanson Dam. This call will be recorded and shared widely. After all of the speakers deliver their remarks, there will be time for questions from press, and we'll ask that folks use the raise hand function and state their name and outlet when we call on you. With that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Senator Murphy.
Well, thank you very much. Yesterday, the Trump administration released a plan to blatantly rob blue states and completely politicize federal funding for crucial projects. We are talking historically blatant thuggery from the White House here. President Trump's Army Corps construction plan utterly tramples all the careful, painstaking negotiations we did in Congress to reach a bipartisan understanding about what projects need funding, and replaces it with his own partisan vision. It's a vision that rips away hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars from blue states like mine. There is just no getting around it. This plan is utterly partisan and sets a truly egregious precedent. We should all be outraged. The balance of states Trump wants to give more funding and the states he wants to cut off is completely lopsided. About 2/3 for red states, 1/3 for blue states. Now, for comparison, the budget request, our bipartisan Senate bill, and yes, even House Republicans' bill, split the funding between red and blue states about 50-50. We are talking about critical Army Corps projects to maintain and build foundational water infrastructure, from dredging for our ports to protecting communities from floodwaters or maintaining major dams. Back in Washington State, this plan cuts us out to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. We are losing some funding for our waterways and fish mitigation, funding for our ports, and we are completely losing funding for the Howard Hanson Dam, which, before Trump meddled with these funds, was set to receive $500 million to execute a necessary construction contract this year. This is a crucial project, years in the making, that is important to safeguard our water supply, protect our communities from dangerous flooding, and save our salmon. I have pounded the pavement getting support for this project. This funding had bipartisan support. Our committee cleared a bill for this unanimously. Howard Hanson was even fully funded in the House Appropriations bill, which was drafted by Republicans and included every cent. But now, thanks to this administration, it is dust. Trump is completely defunding Howard Hanson Dam. They are not giving us even a hint of a real explanation why. But the motivation here is obvious, and it is alarming, especially when Trump's budget completely zeroes out Army Corps construction in California. That's right, he just completely cut the most populous state in the country out of Army Corps construction funding. This is completely outrageous and completely unacceptable. And it is exactly why I voted against Republicans' partisan CR. I warned repeatedly that we should not give Trump new flexibility to move Army Corps funding around and hang this threat over everyone. That is a reckless amount of power to give any president, and certainly not this one, who shows us every minute of every day he will abuse it. This has never been a president we can expect to operate in good faith. This has never been a president we can expect to follow precedent or decency or even basic common sense. But Republicans' slush fund CR passed, and it gave Trump dangerous authority, and it should be no surprise to anyone he's using it. Now, I'm speaking out today. I will not let defending Howard Hanson Dam stand in any future bipartisan spending bill. However, that could be a long ways away, so I'll be speaking with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and making this clear to them. We have to rein Trump in, or he is going to keep trampling the powers of Congress, and he's going to keep trampling the communities we all came here to fight for. May not be your state today, but what happens when your governor disagrees with the president? What happens when your vote against him in your state loses out on funding? What happens when there is a new president, and this is just how things work now? We have to push back now, today, which is exactly what I'm doing. I will fight tooth and nail to prevent this completely partisan vision from becoming a reality. And today I have with me some people who could speak more to just how crucial this Army Corps funding is and why we are not going to stop fighting for it. With that, let me turn it over to Heather from Tacoma Water.
Thank you so much, Senator Murray. I'm Heather Pennington, Tacoma Water Superintendent. The Green River Municipal Watershed has been Tacoma Water's primary water supply since 1913 and provides clean, reliable water filtered at the source. The Howard Hanson Dam is a multi-purpose project with missions that include flood risk management, water supply storage, ecosystem restoration, and fish conservation. Since 1962, the Howard Hanson Dam has prevented an estimated $23 billion in flood damage, underlining the critical importance of this infrastructure. Tacoma Public Utilities has made significant investments at Howard Hanson Dam for decades to benefit our customers and the broader region. Additionally, we've been advocating for the additional water storage projects since the dam was constructed. This project received widespread regional support and would have been one of the most significant investments into ensuring water reliability for 1 million people in Western Washington in recent history, which includes TPU customers, our wholesale customers, and our partners like Kent, Lake Haven Water and Sewer District, and the Covington Water District, as well as the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe. Increasing water storage capacity provides a stable supply of clean, reliable water that is key to our region's economic vitality. The loss of funding for this project represents a significant challenge to ensuring continued economic growth and resource reliability. I'd now like to hand it over to Tom Cowan from Covington Water District.
Thank you, Heather. Good afternoon, Senator, and all the other attendees on the call. My name is Thomas Cowan, and I serve in the role as the General Manager of the Covington Water District. We have very strong support from our elected Board of Commissioners, and we have a great a great team of our District Fish Passage group who are all passionate supporters of the completion of the additional water storage project. The district is a special purpose district located in South King County. We serve the city of Covington, as well as portions of Maple Valley, Black Diamond, and unincorporated King County. We have approximately 20,000 customer accounts and are a growing bedroom community that has experienced tremendous growth over the past few decades, as well as we anticipate significant growth in the coming years. 25 years ago, the district was actually caught in a water supply deficit that led to a moratorium on new housing. The district researched all of our options and ultimately decided to make an initial investment of $64 million into the regional water supply system, with Tacoma Water as the lead, and our other partners, as Heather mentioned, the City of Kent and the Lake Haven Water and Sewer District. The effort at the time also included the completion of the additional water storage project, which leads to our discussion today. The district is obviously disappointed in the decision to not fund the $500 million needed to complete the downstream fish passage work. Without the key part of this project, the district may not have enough summertime supply to meet our current and future customer needs, starting as early as the mid-2030s. That's not very far from now, folks. And for the district, we actually felt like we've bought a 4-bedroom house, and then the builder is telling us we can only occupy 2 of the bedrooms. Not to mention, this action will further delay access for endangered salmon to over 100 miles of pristine spawning habitat above Howard Hanson Dam. It's just unfair on many levels. For instance, the decision is also unfair to the many local stakeholders who invested time and money, as Heather noted, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, on infrastructure and watershed benefits in and along the green in preparation for the project coming online. This is now unfortunately shaping up as a waste of a perfectly good shovel-ready project that is likely to be mothballed for who knows how long. Regardless of this week's setback, the district is committed to the completion of the project, and we appreciate all the support that you and our partners have provided to date. And most importantly, the district is committed and will remain diligent in our task in completing the project on behalf of all our customers. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And now we have time to take questions from any reporters who are in the audience and would like to ask a question. If you can use the raise hand function, I will go ahead and call on you and just state your name and outlet when we call on you. Alrighty. We have a question in the chat from the Northwest Progressive Institute who asks, and I assume this is for Senator Murray, but you chime in. This question is, what are the next steps to protect Howard Hanson Dam funding?
Well, this is a critical blow to us, where the president unilaterally took money that we worked through both the House and the Senate in a bipartisan way, unanimously, and sent to the president. And he is using unilateral authority, which was unfortunately given to him by the Republican CR that just passed, to take that money away. I will work in the next bipartisan budget process to get the money back in. Again, it was supported by House Republicans, Senate Democrats and Republicans, everyone, and I will work to get it back in. But this is a setback for all of us. But the big point is this is a critical project for water storage. It's a critical project for flooding. This is a big setback to us, and we're going to have to keep working on it. But we're also going to have to remind all of our colleagues here that when we give a president this much authority and take it away from Congress, this is what happens. I don't think anybody, Republican or Democrat, wants that precedent set for the future.
And our next question is from Debbie Cockrell with the News Tribune, and she asks, how will lack of funding for this project affect future growth in Pierce County?
Well, I'm assuming that both Heather and Tom can speak to that, but if you do not have water and you have flooding issues, that will impact everyone who are in the path of this.
I'm happy to respond as well. This project is important to secure additional storage and water behind Howard Hanson Dam, which will greatly benefit the region and provide reliability and confidence in our supply for generations to come in the near term. It won't affect growth in terms of a moratorium within Tacoma's service area, but however, as Tom mentioned, there are certainly concerns in areas that we provide, and this project and providing confidence for generations will ensure that we can work and look ahead based on the growth that we see happening now and into the future throughout our service territory and beyond. Tom?
Just very specific to Covington Water. Again, we're in South King County. We're experiencing a lot of growth. Our bottom line floor of growth will be 10% over the next 10 years. We already use 100% of our portion, our share of the water in the summertime. We use it all, and that's just the 10% is just the floor. We could experience up to 20% growth over the next 10 years, and potentially have to look at another moratorium situation.
All right, and we have a question in the chat from Pam with Engineering News Record. And she asks, will contracts that have already been awarded be canceled? There was one with Flatiron Acon. Heather, I don't know if you'll take that one.
So we are in conversations right now with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with respect to the project and the contract that is underway. So I can't answer the question about what specifically is going to happen with respect to the contract. I do know that there is hope to continue work in the near term, but what isn't currently funded and now won't be funded with this is unclear. And so I would defer to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with respect to that contract, but we're very concerned about what is going to be able to be completed and what the pause and impact will be if we don't secure additional funding.
And it looks like we have a hand raised from Miranda with Politica.
Hi, thank you. I was wondering if you could just say a little bit more about how exactly the continuing resolution allowed this kind of thing to happen and how it's different than the normal process that Army Corps projects go through in terms of funding.
I'm happy to answer that. So basically, the Senate passed full funding, $500 million for as part of the list of all the projects under the Corps of Engineers. The House passed the same. We did not finish the bill in time and had to go to a continuing resolution for funding for the rest of the year. In every other circumstance previous to this, the continuing resolutions listed those projects that were bipartisan, sent by the Corps of Engineers. In the resolution, that CR, continuing resolution, that passed a month or so ago, all of that language was taken out, and the president was given the capability to have a slush fund, which is what I called it at the time, and not have congressional input. That is a first, and the impact is serious.
Alrighty, not seeing any other questions, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Murray to close us out.
Well, rest assured that in the next bill, when we get it done, I will work very hard to get this funding, again, bipartisan. But this is an unprecedented, absurd abuse of power by a president over funding for the Corps of Engineers, and our country can't let this stand. Thank you.